Hi everyone, this is really weird. Oh, Annie, you promised me that it was going to be weird, and it is living up to its billing. Where do I begin? Maybe from the beginning. I was born and raised in Bombay, India. I refer to Bombay as Bombay because it became Mumbai after I migrated to the US, and I call it Bombay in my poem too. Then I did my undergrad in statistics and followed by graduate studies in computer science. And then I worked as a software engineer for 30 years before I went blind and I couldn't work anymore as a software engineer. To talk about my blindness, I suffer from a rare, progressive, degenerative um, disorder, genetic disorder called Usher Syndrome, which leads to deaf blindness. So I have profound loss in my hearing, but my hearing aid helped me to quite to some extent. Um, Now about my poetic journey. When did I start writing my first poem? I was 18 when I wrote my first poem. It was to, in order to go to college, I had to walk through a slum area every day. It was a shortcut to reach the college quicker. And in the slum area, I once saw a little girl defecating on the street, and that was my first. I wrote the first poem about that. Um, so throughout my poetry, in all my poetry, poverty um, and the human condition has influenced me to a great extent. After that, I remember writing a poem about a death in the neighborhood. I don't remember whether it was the neighborhood or the family, some distant relative. But I wrote a poem about that and I showed it to my teacher. And in the poem, I mentioned a line, "Death be not proud," and he just got that line and he said I was um, plagiarizing. I borrowed that line from Tennyson, and that had a profound effect on me. I stopped writing poetry for many years before, and then the next time I wrote poetry was in graduate studies when I dated my wife, and she told me she loved poetry, and I started writing romantic poems um, for about a year until she agreed to marry me. After that, it was all over. No more poems for quite a while. Then I moved to America, and I worked in many places, moved around, raised a family, and didn't get a chance to write much poetry. And then I remember the
It's 4 minutes.
next time I wrote a poem was after a trip to New Orleans, and that changed me in two ways. I started writing again, and then it also I was tone deaf in music, but after going to New Orleans, I took a liking to jazz, and I'm a big jazz fan. After that, um, then after that, um, after I lost my eyesight, I went into some depression about having lost my job, and it was poetry again that saved me. There was a blog called Vision Through Word, started by one Stella de Genova, who was visually impaired and was an artist. She invited creative writing from the visually impaired community, and I submitted a lot of poems to her. Um, through that, I got to know about the Vermont Studio Center, and I applied for a residency there, and I got in there, and I met a I met a lot of writers and poets at the Vermont Studio Center who encouraged me to pursue my MFA. After which I did my MFA at Leslie. It was very difficult for me because I couldn't read any poetry books. It was not accessible. I needed it in some electronic format, which was very difficult to get. But uh, but I managed to get a degree from Leslie. And then after some workshops and then publication, I I sent my manuscript to Yavanika Press, which agreed to publish my debut book. Um, it's called I Am the Dancing. Here it is. It's called I Am the Dancing. It's actually an international book because the editor is in Bangalore, India. The co-editor is in Delaware, US, and the person who did the cover design of the book is in London, and here I am near Boston, and it's available in Amazon. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoy listening to my poems. Mango Memories. Oh, before that, first I wanted to. I I just finished my Braille literacy certification, and I thought I would read my poems in Braille, but then I am not good at reading. I'm still very slow at reading. Yeah. I would have ended up reading only one or two poems in Braille. So I decided to memorize all the poems. And my wife, who's sitting next to me, will help me with if I stumble or forget a line or two anywhere. Okay. Um, Thank you. Mango memories. Summer is the season of the mango, tangy green to luscious yellow, or Alfonso, the undisputed king of the realm, resting between layers of hay and basket, blanketed by burlap, breathes out mango, mango, mango into our tiny Bombay flat. Before the Sunday meal, my father's ritual, painstaking mango picking, promoting, I'm sorry,
Demoting.
demoting one with any sign of green, promoting those ready to face the world. To pick a few from the top echelon, he sniffed the royalty for the right ripeness while massaging their plump bodies for mellowness. The chosen few were lined up for my mother's cleaver, four slices close to the core, front, back, two lateral. After we got on puris and savory vegetable curry, it was Alfonso time. We skimmed the succulent sweet meat until the skin sagged. Then we mauled the coal, gripping it in our right palm, biting into the clinging flesh as close to um,
It's fibrous.
its fibrous scalp as our incisors allowed, squeezing every bit of goodness with thumb and index finger, going bottom up and licking the ooze gathered until the core offered nothing more. Tchaikovsky Square. We met on the parapet, edging a building, promising us classical music from one of his Juliet balconies. With the bustling bazaar in the square, blanketed for the night, the vigilance of a lone street lamp, and loose cigarette from the pawn shop across. We engaged in teen banter, pundited on cricket and soccer,
Guffawed.
guffawed, guffawed over joke morphing from silly to sillier to dirtier. Around 9, the old chap, nursing a cognac, lifted an arm to place the needle on a groove. Music descended, slow at first, then for an eternity, loud and clear. When it was over, we clapped, we cheered, we demanded an encore, gazing at our smoke cloud, soar, then disappear into the starless Bombay sky. We fell silent to the decadence, courtesy of an unseen second floor resident we named Tchaikovsky. Dr. Ansari Road, right next to the roadside shrine of Lakshmi, goddess of prosperity. I expect him, a tattered heap of flesh, waving, flies off his bruised face with a stump of one hand, the other on his begging bowl. The copper bowl brims with coins dropped by they who hurry away before he blesses them. Till he smiles, his hands raised in a namaste. I never see his legs, he has none. Like clockwork, he shows up on his rollerboard, monsoon never a damper. When he does keel over, disinfected air will greet me. A day after another, leprous beggar appears with bowl and board, ready to fatten the flies. Remembering Tere, you sat across from me, amid voices, surrounded by voices, Amharic, English, and French. The sun punishing my tunnel vision with glare and blur. I saw something. Was it a hat? I asked, and you shouted, "He can see my hat! He can see my hat!" We talked about our homeland. You miss Quebec, her poutine, her tortillas, and I, the Bombay I carry with me. Then you leaned across, took my hand, and guided my surprised fingers over your hairless head. A year later, while you were waiting out your life, refusing to be seen, I badly wanted to see you, to tell you that on sunless days I can see much more. A little note about it. I met her only for 15 minutes of our life, and I read this poem on a memorial service. Um, the book collector. From Achebe to Marquette to Vonnegut, they lived disorderly and neglected in my bookcases. Books that languished in small town bookshop with rickety stairs, winding dingier. Books I plucked out of manicured bookstores, boasting couches, cones, and cappuccinos. Books I housed in neighborhoods right for them, the new one causing a stir or two. Books I dusted on Sunday afternoons, one at a time, trumpeting random bios. Books that strayed elsewhere and I bothered to give them back their orderly lives. Books whose words faded over the years, then their spine, their covers, their lodgings. Books whose paper, when correct, I dream, I worship with my eyes. Love in the air. On the sofa for two, under dim light, we snuggle. She reads the poem to me, as she does every night. This November night, her feet declares, the subject tonight is love, and for tomorrow night as well. As a matter of fact, I know of no better topic for us to discuss until we die. I imagine Happy, seated in a Persian garden, his face caressed by a breeze carrying the scent of roses, with hints of soil pounded earlier by much needed rain, and he's seeing in his beloved's eyes what I hear in my wife's voice. Uh, After I wrote this poem, my wife stopped reading any poems to me. Uh, I am no different. For Richard Gem, I meet him for the first time. He sits across from me. I don't see him, never will. He speaks a few words, busy cracking unruly corn chips into bite-sized pieces. He lavishes guacamole dip on one, places it between my fingers, patient and tender in every one of the many he offers me. I savor the rare zing of humanity. Back to life. My wife parked me away from choppers, cart, and rack of dresses, handbags, and intimate apparel. I I hold my cane upright in front, palm cupping its handle. I pose as a mannequin with unblemished skin, well-groomed hair of an unfading color, a sum of well-chiseled parts, clad in custom-fit, color-matched, clean clothes. I slowly slip into rigor mortis. Someone touches my cane, then my hand. He's alive! He's alive! A child shrieks when I sneeze 3 times in a row. Let go, my wife whispers, kissing me. I reach for a right elbow and tap, tap out of the door. And this is the last poem. It's the dance. It's the title poem of my book. The dance, dressed in a dazzle of sequins and a thousand rainbows, the goddess dances to a silent chord. She alone knows. Out of the throbbing, I appear, I linger, I disappear. Not just me, but the cloud and the wind and the wave, the butterfly and the whale, the dandelion and the sequoia, the loon and her cry. She sways her hand lifts a foot, twists the torso, pirouette, in tune with her. I am the dancer, I am the dance, I am the dancing. Thank you very much.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just looking for the comments. And meanwhile, Mani, while I look for the comments, here's a question for you. Would you have any advice for aspiring poets? Would you?
Uh, Um, my frank advice is to not go too much for technique and poetic devices and all that. Just go with your heart. You just write what comes to you, um, and then you can do the editing later. But if you start with with having the right technique and all that, then it does not come out to be an honest poem. That's what I have noticed. Um, I don't know. I don't read a lot of books of poetry. I just read poems. I've never read a complete book of poetry. Um, so I don't know whether that has helped me in some way by not getting too influenced. Um, I hope I answered your question. Just follow your gut. That in short.
Yeah, I'm not able to still, Mani, get the comments here live. I'm not seeing anything on my side here. So I think I'll just, a lot of people have commented and saying your poems are beautiful and they've liked them. Pamela Gem wants to know, do you workshop?
Yes, I do workshop. Workshop has helped my poetic skills to a great extent. Um, I attended one workshop called Poem Works. It was started by Barbara Helgot Hired, and she has influenced me quite a bit. And now I go to Gray Hell workshop. He was a student of Barbara for many, many years. And now he has taken over and started his workshop. Um, I started going to his workshop. The workshop is a tremendous help to any poet.
Mani, the next question Aaron is asking, can you talk about your writing process?
Um, I don't have a specific writing process per se, but I lived in Bombay in a very crowded area, and the beauty of the place is there's so much to smell, to hear, to see, and there's so much going on, and that has influenced my poetry quite a bit. Um, the other thing is, as far as where do I get the ideas about my poems, I have a broken circadian rhythm due to my blindness, and that keeps me awake some nights in the middle of the night. And since I don't wear hearing aid in the night, so it's like um, a different world for me. Nothing to see, nothing to hear, totally in my mind. And I get, I mean, I know people won't believe this, but I get a little thought. It starts with a little thought, and then before I know, there are lines coming in, and I don't want to get up and record it or go to my computer and write it because I don't want to disturb that. It's so beautiful. So I try to memorize them, and then the next day I write whatever I remember. So I am fortunate with that ability, um, to be given that ability. That's the only process I think I can um, tell you about. The workshop does give you some discipline, because you're supposed to bring in a poem or two, and at that time you have to write something.
Cool. Yeah. Unfortunately, I'm still not able to get a single comment. Either I'm not seeing them, or but Annie has been texting me comments, money. And that PK said, wow, people are,
Huh?
yeah, yeah. If Annie, if you have more questions, feel free to text them to me. Money, here's a question for you. Are there any poets or writers who influence or inspire you?
Um, like I said, I just read a lot of poems. But in my MFA, I did like Wisława Szymborska, the Polish poet, and I wrote a small dissertation about her. I really liked her poems. Then, of course, Ilya Kaminsky, um, his poems were also very good, and there was the fact that he was totally deaf also played a little part in it, that I liked him. Um, then there were um, poets like Langston Hughes, and I can't remember names. Um, the other thing I read is the Writer's Almanac, and I mean it comes to me in email, and it is so easy for me to read. And the computer reads it for me, and I some of the poems I really like. I don't know the writers, but some of them I like, and if there is any influence on my writing, it's probably from some of the poems in the Writer's Almanac.
Somebody else said, I love Ilya Kaminsky. I think Annie texted, Annie said that. Yeah, yeah. So I think, I mean, I'm waiting for more comments, money. It says that there are 12 comments, but unfortunately, I still not showing up on my end here. And yeah, it's almost looking at it, 7:28 or so. Do you want to wrap things up? Unless somebody has any comments, please, happy to answer, I guess. Or you can wrap things up, money. If there are no comments, you can go ahead and
Yeah.
wrap things up. Yeah.
Thank you very much for listening to my poems. I hope you enjoyed them.
Okay, here's a question.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry.
This
I'm
question
sorry.
is no, this is a interesting question. What poem was successful in wooing your wife? Someone wants to know.
Oh, good
I
one.
know, I don't know that one
I
yet. He still
mean,
has to try.
I wrote a bunch of romantic poems that I don't want to see them anymore. I think they were really silly poems. But hey, it got the job done, you know. I think my wife has that book of poems,
Yeah.
but I don't want to see it. I told her, keep it away from me as far as possible.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you to
Thank you very
everybody.
much.
Yeah.
Thank you, Annie. Thank you,
Yeah.
Sarah.
Thanks for the opportunity for us. Yeah. There's thunderstorms. Yeah.
Yeah, the thunderstorms in Boston. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. We're
Bye.
going to end the video. Thank you, everybody.